And now, from Pasadena, it's CCN Sunrise with Sunita Joshua Madison, Paulo Alejandria, the Crown City News team, and the CCN Sunrise segment stars. It's time to wake up San Gabriel Valley with CCN Sunrise.
Good morning, everybody. We're so glad to have you here with us. Hopefully everybody made it through the holidays safely. We'll introduce you to two new CCN segment stars today, the vet hunter Kevin George and our new medical segment star, Dr. Jerome Lisk. I'm Sunita Joshua Madison.
And I'm Bob McClure. Also, some pretty big news out of Pasadena lately. As Mayor Bogard plans his retirement, he leaves with the biggest embezzlement schemes in the city's history on his watch. We'll get his reaction.
First, I wanted to get your reaction, Bob. I don't think you've seen my little baby bump going on.
I was going to say, maybe we have 3 new CCN segment stars.
We do. Little one's kicking. But, you know, speaking of the new year, did you make resolutions this year? Because this year I'm like, forget it.
I made a resolution, and I have kept to it very well through the first 9 days of the year.
Which is?
Make no resolutions.
That's genius, Bob.
I like to think so.
You're a success already when you start the day.
I've been doing this for about a decade, and I've been pretty successful so far.
That's why every morning you wake up and you're like, darn, I'm good.
I see. Nice work.
Well, our CCN's Tony Mead talked to you some of you out there about your resolutions. Take a look.
I'm here on the streets finding out some people's New Year's resolutions.
Pretty much to stay fit, eat healthier, less fast food and less sugary drinks, but that's pretty much it. Exercise more and eat healthier. More greens. I found out I'm going to be a mom this year, so that's why I need to eat more greens.
Oh, congratulations.
So, thank you.
Have you broken any of your New Year's resolutions so far?
I did, but on my dream board, I put sometimes we make different choices.
Well, I just want to finish school right now. That's all I'm really focusing on, and I just want to get a new job because I don't really like my job right now.
Basically, finances. That's the #1 priority.
How was 2014 for you?
It was half and half. Pretty good. You know, I have to say I was blessed.
Well, I plan to finish my study in the cooking school and then use that skill for my ministry to the poor and needy, which is called the Bond Ministries.
It might be like graduate from college and get a ton of work because I'm a musician.
My New Year's resolution is to overall be a better person.
Nice. Did you break it yet?
No.
What are some of your New Year's resolutions?
To lose about 100 pounds and just get financially stable, find a church now that we're in LA, and see all the hopes and dreams that my sons have come to fruition and me start my own business and graduate from school.
And how many children you have?
I have 3.
Have you broken any of your resolutions so far?
Not yet.
Whatever your goal may be, whether it's to lose weight, eat healthy, be a better person, stick to it. In Pasadena, Tony Mead, CCN.
And before we go any further, we'd like to stop for a moment and thank all of our sponsors who make this show possible.
CCN.
Crown City News is sponsored by Foothill Transit, San Gabriel Valley Economic Partnership, Pasadena Federal Credit Union, Senior Providers Network, Ability First, Beacon Media News, EH Financial, Ganal Lumber, Siren Arts Productions. Thank you for your support of Crown City News.
It's time for Crown City News with CCN's Paulo Alejandria.
And now, CCN, Crown City News. Your news, your neighborhood starts right now.
Hi, Sunita and Bob. Here's a look at some headlines making news right here in the San Gabriel Valley. It's been making national news. Authorities say one of the biggest city embezzlement schemes in history has happened right here in our backyard. The district attorney's office has arrested 3 people and charged them with stealing $6.4 million from a city utilities fund.
2014 came to a less than happy end for Danny Wooten, former management analyst for the City of Pasadena's Public Works Department. On December 30th, Wooten and two others, his temp assistant Melody Jenkins and Tyrone Collins, who operates Collins Electric out of this home in Altadena, were arrested for the alleged embezzlement of $6.4 million of the city's underground utilities program, or UUP funds. This past Monday, shocked and angry residents sounded off during a special city council meeting called after the arrests were announced.
I'm really saddened by the loss of all this money.
I'm a taxpayer in this city and I'm mad as hell.
The case against Wooten alleges he ran a decade-long embezzlement scheme that involved false invoices for underground utility work that resulted in checks made out to this church, the New Covenant Church in Pomona, where Wooten is a senior pastor, and the Southern California Evangelistic Jurisdiction here in Pasadena. An outside firm, KPMG, was enlisted by the city in July 2014 to investigate the charges after the Municipal Services Committee, led by City Council member Terry Tornick, started asking questions. We asked Pasadena Mayor Bill Bogard if enlisting KPMG's services presented a conflict of interest, since KPMG's report itself lists Wooten as an employee of their firm in the early 90s. As far as a perceived conflict of interest, do you see any there, given that he was a former employee?
I don't. He wasn't a high-level employee. He wasn't, to my knowledge, a partner of the firm.
Some say the $6.4 million in misappropriated funds has created a bigger scandal than the one that rocked the city of Bell in 2011. For Bogard, the timing may be unfortunate, since he plans to end his tenure as mayor in May. We asked the mayor how a scandal like this could affect his perceived legacy.
I'll leave legacy to others for my service to the city over the years, but I would say that it was tremendously disappointing to learn about this. There was a breach of confidence and trust on the part of the individual that is unprecedented in the history of the city. So I'm very regretful, but in terms of my own personal standing as an elected official of this great city, I would hope that people will think in terms of 16 years and what has been accomplished and the role that I've been able to play in bringing people together.
We reached out to the New Covenant Church in Pomona and the Southern California Evangelistic Jurisdiction, but no one would comment. Mayor Bogard says the city has brought in more than $6 billion over the last decade, and that the amount stolen amounts to 0.1%. After a different scandal in 2014, where the city of Pasadena lost its public health director, Dr. Eric Walsh, because of his views on pop culture and homosexuality, city officials are asking for input to find its replacement. CCN's Hannah Townsley has the story.
I'm here at the Pasadena City Hall, where a community meeting was just held for the public as the city is preparing to recruit a new public health director. And I'm here with Michael Beck, the city manager. Mr. Beck, I do have a few questions about this meeting. Why was it important that the community have input on the new incoming, or so to speak, public health director?
It's important that we identify what the needs and the interests are of the community so that we can incorporate those ideas into the criteria for identifying and selecting the appropriate candidate. There's lots of people in the public health arena, and what we want to make sure is the person that we identify and ultimately select is somebody that has the skills and experiences and backgrounds to be able to accommodate and meet the specific and unique needs of the city of Pasadena.
You had just mentioned that you want someone who's like the best person. In your opinion, what is the best person for this position coming in?
Well, and we're still trying to identify what the best person means, and that's why we have these public meetings. We'll take all of that input and identify who the strongest candidate is, really based on what we get back as information.
What about someone's personal beliefs? Does that matter in a job like this?
We actually can't consider their personal beliefs, but what we try to do is usually we'll end up with a number of qualified candidates, and then we try to identify who has the right fit within the organization and within our community. But technically and legally, we can't actually consider their personal beliefs.
And when do you think a final decision will be made for the new public health director?
It is a very extensive process. At this point in time, our goal would be to have somebody on board, or at least known, by the end of June, which would be the end of our fiscal year. And one of the things that I do is, if the best candidate isn't identified in this initial search, then we'll actually start over and do it again. So our goal is always to get it done the first time, but if I don't find the right candidate for Pasadena, then I'll go out and we'll start over and try again.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Beck. And Pasadena is one of 3 cities that has their own public health department. In Pasadena, Hannah Townsley, CCN.
That's it for the news for this half hour. I'll have more in the next half. Back to you, Bob and Sunita.
Thanks, Paulo. Now for the morning buzz, Je suis Charlie Hebdo. The world stands with the satirists at the Charlie Hebdo after horrific shootings at their Paris office killed 12, including 2 police officers. Though no rational person can excuse violence as an answer, some people wonder if the cartoonists at the magazine should have pulled back on some of their more provocative covers depicting the Prophet Muhammad, which is a big no-no in Islam, or if that it just gives more to the extremists who would kill over a cartoon. Harris Hall is back. Harris, do you think that the cartoonists went too far or not far enough?
I don't think we jettison our most deeply held beliefs and freedoms, like freedom of the press and freedom of speech, in the face of these threats and attacks. Appeasement will never work with an ideology which seeks to convert us or kill us. What I want to know is, why was this guy walking the streets? This is a guy who had already been convicted on terrorism charges, who had trained in Yemen with Al-Qaeda. Why is this guy walking the streets of Paris?
Why defy to Yemen? I don't know. But, you know, with this, I mean, we obviously, the violence is too far. But, you know, after the North Korean, the interview, that whole saga, and this as well, I've heard people start saying, there was a comedian just recently saying, you know, I speak to my audience, and if a joke bombs, sorry about the word choice, then I don't do it again. I try something else to connect to people. Do you think there's other ways that they should have used to connect?
No, I think that the role of the comic is not just to make us laugh, but it's also to make us think. It's part of what they do, and satire is a big part of that. And we recently saw Hannibal Buress, right? And his discussion about Bill Cosby, or his remarks about Bill Cosby, kicked off a huge change in the way people viewed Bill Cosby. And certainly what the satirists in France were trying to do was have people look at that particular religion. Doesn't make them right, but they certainly have the right to bring their views out and state them the way they want. They weren't hurting anyone, they weren't attacking, they weren't physically ruining anything or destroying anything.
All right. Well, also in the morning buzz, the New York Police Department is protesting Mayor Bill de Blasio's stance on the Eric Garner death. They've turned their backs on him during funeral services of cops killed in retaliation, and now a work stoppage. They're scaling back their arrests in an effort to make a point. They're basically taking a cue from A Day Without a Mexican. Do you think, you know, as a business owner, if you had employees doing the same thing, would they be gone?
Probably, but I don't think this is quite comparable. You have a situation here where the mayor appears to be sympathetic to demonstrators who are chanting, "Let's kill the police." And then you have 2 policemen killed in New York. So obviously, the police are going to be on edge. They're going to be very upset with him. The mayor is not in a position where he can act like some community organizer. He's running a huge bureaucracy, a $75 billion budget, a city with 14 million people, and he just needs to be more responsible, in my view.
Well, he is in the leadership of this. I mean, so if he's saying that the police department maybe has been too brutal, or maybe needs to change their ways that they're acting, I mean, that is his job as the leader, not necessarily a community organizer. But as police officers, rank and file, their job is to follow orders, is it not?
Right, and I think that they're kind of slowing down and doing things different on the job than they would have before in order to make a point is a kind of a dangerous line to cross. I think if the mayor had, obviously it's a big operation he's got running, but typically in a company, if you've got a problem with the division, you go to the division head. Maybe most of that should have been worked out with the chief of police behind closed doors, rather than in a public forum that was already kind of ripe for some violence.
Well, and the thing is, cop killers will get justice. And I think what the protesters have been saying, well, not everybody else gets justice. Why don't they get the same respect? And I think that's part of the communication that's not happening. And there needs to be some marriage counseling, I think. But Harris, we're going to have you back in our second half hour with lots more. New research may be making pre-crime a reality.
Remember that. in the movie Minority Report. Our newest segment star, Dr. Jerome Lisk, explains next in the CCN Sunrise Health Conscious segment.
I grew up in the housing projects of Cleveland. I didn't even know that life could be any better than it was. Education for me has been a way to get away from the agony of what was normal life. I want to be able to impact the community, not just look back on where I came from, but to reach back to where I came from and pull some people up with me. My name is David, and I am your dividend.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
I'm a teacher. Let me tell you what I make. I make learning a privilege, not a chore, and frustration a tool, not an obstacle. I make working hard seem easy and giving up impossible. I make an old subject feel like a fresh thought and unconventional methods common. I'm a teacher. I make more.
You've seen him on the show before as a guest in the Morning Buzz. Now Dr. Jerome Lisk is back as segment star of the CCN Health Conscious segment.
And he's about to blow us away. Could brain scans reveal our future behaviors, ability to learn, or even commit crimes? Talk about Big Brother. He's really getting into our head now, right, Dr. Lisk?
Exactly. Actually, exciting new research lets us combine our current knowledge of the brain with neuroimaging like MRIs and CAT scans to possibly predict human behavior in the future. We have known for years which areas of the brain are involved in memory, language, emotions, and psychiatric disorders and social behavior. The field of radiology has developed different MRIs that we can now start to combine our medical knowledge with these new types of brain scans to predict future learning ability and skills, and even whether someone might be engaged in criminal behavior. In a review published early January of this year, John Gabrielli and researchers from MIT looked at several studies predicting and learning response to medical therapy and human behavior. These studies looked at brain waves and patterns predicted risk for the future language and reading difficulties in newborns within days or even hours of birth. Let me show you what I'm talking about here with this model of the brain, which I literally have not left my hand all morning. So this area is called the frontal lobe and the prefrontal cortex, and it's involved in memory as well as decision-making and social behavior. If we turn the brain over here, we can see that this area of the brain is involved in memory. This is called the temporal lobe. The researchers say that increased or decreased activity in these different areas of the brain can predict whether people will become obese, abuse alcohol, or drugs. The possibility of future criminal behavior was also studied in 96 male offenders. If there was low activity in this part of the brain here, called the anterior cingulate cortex, the chances that an offender would be rearrested over a 4-year period actually doubled. This area of the brain can also predict if teens might even become alcoholics. The researchers argue that these brain markers can help us save lives by decreasing violent crimes and crimes due to mental illness. They can reduce the risk of drug abuse and criminal behavior through social programs. And they can also help catch learning disabilities early on and even better predict response to treatment for psychiatric disorders. Not to mention the possibility of helping millions of kids get better grades and contribute to society in positive ways. Back to you, Bob and Sunita.
Very interesting, but kind of Gattaca scary.
Yes, yes. Like you say, Big Brother.
So a lot of information in whose hands?
Yes, and we have to be careful about how we use this information too. Yeah.
Well, coming up next, we'll introduce you to another new segment star, Kevin George. He's one of the vet hunters who will help find and help homeless veterans. And Bob's back with his segment talking about window shopping. Is that what you're doing?
Not quite. Window shopping. Window dressing.
Oh,
and this is not getting dressed in front of a window. This is mutual funds that get made to look pretty right before the end of the quarter. I'll tell you more about that in my Money and Markets segment when we come back.
A full life, measured in seats, starts with the right ones early on. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Learn how to prevent deaths and injuries by using the right car seat for your child's age and size.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
Connor is struggling in school.
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
Why don't you understand me?
I do. This is what it feels like for kids with learning and attention issues. Redirecting to understood.org.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
The VA has been in shambles, leaving many veterans without access to services and resources they need when they come home from the battlefield.
Kevin George is one of the folks who lifts veterans up if they've fallen through the cracks of the system. Kevin's a vet hunter. He's here now to tell us what we can expect to see in his new segment, Vet Hunters.
Hi guys, I'm proud to be a volunteer member of the Vet Hunters Project based in El Monte. The Vet Hunters Project is a 501c3 nonprofit that was founded over 3 years ago by Iraq combat veteran Joe Leal, who saw the need to reach out to those brothers and sisters in the shadows who were lacking the love and respect, along with the necessary supportive services that they deserve that would let them reintegrate back into society's mainstream. We're a team of 10 full-time volunteers doing amazing things as we run daily search and rescue missions in the canyons, washes and riverbeds, as well as freeway bridge encampments and the streets of Skid Row, looking for our homeless heroes. The Vet Hunters' initial focus when the organization was launched was on the homeless veteran population. As we have grown and learned over the past 3 years, we're now also a resource for active Guard and Reserve as well as former military personnel. In the weeks to come, I'll be able to share with you the stories of success that we encounter on an everyday basis. I call these our Oprah moments. These include stories of people like Habakkuk Michel, who was a medical doctor in Haiti, where after the earthquake he was beaten and put in prison for educating children when he wasn't treating the sick and dying. He made his way to the U.S., where he enlisted in the Navy, only to be excused from his commitment so he could finish medical school at UCLA. I can't wait to tell you his full story. We at Vet Hunters are able to provide veterans and their families housing and transportation by way of donated used cars, funding to repair those cars, as well as food and clothing to connect them with available supportive services quickly. We'll also be offering you tips and resources to help the veteran in your life or in the homeless heroes that we might come across on an everyday basis. For now, you can visit our website at vethunters.org or visit the Vet Hunters on Facebook. You can also call 714-981-4038 for more information. Sunita and Bob, back to you.
Thanks, Kevin. So I hate to tell you, Bob, but that might just be my new favorite segment.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Well, so all money managers out there only tell the truth about their mutual funds, right?
No.
No?
Almost.
Oh, I thought.
It turns out there's a little bit of gray area out there in the investment world. And one of the topics that comes up, especially at the end of every year, is a well-known fact on Wall Street known as window dressing. And that's where mutual fund managers rearrange their portfolio's holdings just before year-end reporting. It's kind of the same type of deception as a person who throws a new coat of paint on a rundown car just before putting it up for sale. It improves the looks, but it does nothing for your performance. Let me give you an example, and we saw a lot of this in the last couple of weeks before January 1st. Let's say you were a mutual fund manager who owned a bunch of, say, oil stocks in 2014. You could have sold off all those stocks right before December 31st, after they had gone down and lost maybe 50% of their value. And you could have used those proceeds to buy stock in companies that had done really well during the year. Your shareholders would be none the wiser, except their performance would have given you a hint that there was something wrong. And to make matters worse, according to a paper recently published in the Review of Financial Studies, window dressers also have poor past performance, possess little skill, and incur high portfolio turnover and trade costs, characteristics that in turn result in worse future performance. While it's not specifically illegal, window dressing clearly puts the interests of the mutual fund company ahead of shareholders they're supposed to serve. But as an individual investor buying individual companies, there is a silver lining. Anytime there's a particular industry that's had a bad but hopefully temporary setback, you can be sure many mutual fund managers will dump those underperforming stocks at the end of the year. Their combined selling can depress prices even farther, often making those companies a terrific buy for a patient investor.
I will be a patient investor then.
I think you should.
I'll make lemonade out of lemons.
That's exactly what it's about, and hopefully making money too.
Well, if you hate running on a treadmill but want to get into shape,
boxing has been around for a long time, and it's not just for us guys. The folks from Title I Boxing will show you some moves anyone can do, even kids. Next.
even me.
I can't hit a pregnant woman.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making Home Affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
You don't need to be Mike Tyson or chew anyone's ear off to get a great workout from boxing. We've got a trainer, Glenn Payne from Title Boxing Club here in Pasadena to show us a few moves that anyone can do to get a great cardio workout. You guys are already hitting it.
Yeah, we can't get some work in.
Well, so why boxing? Why not just go running?
Okay, because boxing has a lot of benefits. For most women, they usually run a lot, but with boxing, you have the cardio and the strength element. And with boxing, the punching and the strikes and everything from ducking, it works your core muscles, works your arms, works your abs, legs, everything gets worked in a full body session.
Are you going to come out black and blue?
Nah. It's high intensity. Anything from like shadow boxing, we have to do a little bit of shadow boxing. Anything from shadow boxing will work every aspect of your muscles. You see she's working her hips, she's working her core, she's working her arms all at the same time. And then in the high intensity class for about an hour, you burn over 1,000 calories.
1,000 calories?
Yes.
Smart to tell it for me.
How many would you burn in a run for an hour?
In a run, you would probably burn about 400 calories. If you run a 3-mile run, say around the Rose Bowl, you're only going to burn about 400 to 500 calories. But in about an hour boxing workout, half of that you're going to burn about 700 calories.
Wow. Okay.
And is that the same with the bag? I mean, does it have to be
Well, when you add
sparring?
the bag, now the bag adds about another 300 to 400 calories burned. So just shadow boxing with yourself, you're gonna burn 700 calories. You add the bag as another element, you're gonna burn about 1,000 to 1,100 calories.
So what are some moves people can do at home?
Okay, so at home you have, let me get you with a basic jab cross. So you can go jab cross, and then go jab cross hook, and then jab cross hook and uppercut. Jab, cross, hook, uppercut. Now go continuous with the whole combination. Jab, cross, hook, uppercut. Now you see, this is a basic combination. You don't need a lot of space. You can sit in the mirror and throw those punches all day. Do this for about 30 minutes. You're gonna burn about 700 calories. Keep going.
Watching Oprah or something?
Yeah, watching TV. Now, if you add an extra hour onto there and you go full speed, you're gonna burn about 1,000 calories easily.
Well, what I love is my man Anton here. He's ready to go. So this is for kids too.
Yeah, now for kids, let me start.
Anton, how old are you? 10 years old.
Cross, hook, and uppercut. There you go. Cross, hook, uppercut. Now let's pick up the speed. There you go, faster. Faster.
And what age can kids start?
Anywhere from 8 years old to 10 years old, and then you can even go younger. But at title boxing, we'd rather have you at 8 years old so you can actually hit the bags and get a full range of how boxing works.
And does it make kids aggressive? I mean, is this something to watch out for if kids maybe are already aggressive?
Actually, it's the complete opposite, because now they won't have all that built-up, pent-up aggression when they go to school. They can take it out on the bag, and they'll be perfectly fine.
My kid won't beat up on me.
No, they won't be beat up on the bags, not everybody else.
Okay, cool.
All right.
So what are some other moves that Anton can show us?
Okay, well, other than the punches, we're gonna go jab, cross, hook. Now you're gonna weave. Now this is just a basic defensive move. Jab, cross, hook, weave. So instead of just learning how to punch, you start learning how to get out of the way of punches. And have you slip this way, slip that way. There you go.
Makes it easy for the little guys,
yeah,
huh?
makes it easy to get out the way, and then it teaches them how to use their legs and use their full body when they're working out.
And they're agile. They can do that.
Yeah,
I might
and then-
throw out a back.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
What about you, Bob?
No way. I
You
can do
ducking
any of
and
this.
weaving?
No, I don't want to go toe-to-toe with Anton, that's for sure.
One more time. Keep going.
He's serious. He's got that look. He's got that eye of the tiger in there.
That's quicker. Good job. Good job. All right.
All right. Well, this is awesome. So I'm going to be doing this during commercials at least, or maybe I'm a co-host.
Yeah, let's try it.
We've got lots more coming up for you in the next half hour.
The director and actors from A Walk in the Woods, a play at the Pasadena Sierra Madre Playhouse, join us next, and you won't want to miss them. So be with us right back.
This guy's serious.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Hey, Hard, what's this?
That's my resignation letter.
You're resigning.
Why?
Because you're constantly ignoring me. You're half as active as you used to be, and you eat stuff like this. You've been putting me under a lot of pressure lately. That's why I'm ready to quit.
I forgot. I'll do better. Please, don't quit on me.
Okay, but remember, it's not what you say, it's what you do.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you.
Let's go for a walk.
Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
And now, from Pasadena, it's CCN Sunrise with Sunita Joshua Madison, Paulo Alejandria, the Crown City News team, and the CCN Sunrise segment stars. It's time to wake up San Gabriel Valley with CCN Sunrise.
We're back with our second half hour of CCN Sunrise. We've got the director and actors from A Walk in the Woods, a play coming to the Sierra Madre Playhouse, here to tell us all about it. I'm Sunita Joshua Madison.
And I'm Bob McClure. The stars descended on the Langham, and Valerie Milano is there to talk with them. We'll see that next on CCN Entertainment.
So Bob, I know you're really excited about this. Have you seen the Biebers and all the Calvin Klein ads?
Yeah, why is he even a thing? Why do we care?
You know, that's the same thing I thought, but I was on this mommy group, and some of these mommies were just like gushing over the kid. Okay, I'll say, you know, good body, all that. You can agree on that, but uninteresting.
His music's lousy, his behavior is crappy, and I am not a fan.
You were a Marky Mark fan, huh? Back in the good old days.
More so than Bieber.
All right. Well, now we have the news with CCN's Paulo Alejandria.
And now, CCN Crown City News. Your news, your neighborhood starts right now.
Hi, Sinead and Bob. Here's a look at some news headlines happening right here in the San Gabriel Valley. Don't worry, they're not setting up for our local version of the Hunger Games in the Lower Arroyo Seco. It's just the Pasadena Rover Archers Club. But some folks think that even if it's not as barbaric as the movie, the bows and arrows prove a danger to residents and property owners trying to enjoy the park. CCN's Kelly Forsch has that story.
Here in Pasadena's Lower Arroyo Park is a place and a club that would make Robin Hood proud. The group is called the Pasadena Roving Archers. Archery has become one of the fastest growing sports in the country, rising in popularity recently since the release of the Hunger Games movies. Robin Hoods and Katnisses of all ages and skill levels meet early every Saturday and Sunday morning to shoot with bows and arrows.
The range has been here since 1935, and it covers about 7 acres of public land, and we have an operating agreement with the city to provide archery instruction and tournaments on Saturdays and Sundays, but the range is open to the public, anyone who wants to shoot, anytime throughout the week.
We've seen a considerable increase. It started with the movies, but it's been sustained. Interestingly, the club has always had a history with the movies because the original Errol Flynn movie was partially shot here on the range.
The club offers 3 styles of archery: traditional longbow, Olympic, and the most popular, recurve target archery. First-timers and veterans alike are encouraged to try everything.
One of my friends that I made put one of these bows in my hand and he's like, "Here, try this." And I fell in love with it. And that's what I try and do. I try and show everybody you can shoot any style you want as long as you feel comfortable with it.
Club follows USA Archery range rules. Whistle commands are used to guide archers through the steps of shooting. All archers must stay behind the shooting line and can only take bows when a certified instructor lets them. Bows must stay straight up and down, and arrows can only be pointed at the ground or a target. An arrow must be in the quiver unless it's in the target. Still, not everyone is happy about archery's returning popularity in the Arroyo Seco. Some residents here have taken aim at the club. The Pasadena mayor's wife, Claire Bogard, and many with the West Pasadena Residents Association, or WPRA, say they want the archers to move to Eaton Canyon near the former police range, citing safety issues.
It's now turned into a very large bow and arrow, very complex, and also it now is really considered a lethal weapon. And the arrows go great distances and fall on private property, and the people behind me on the private property are unable to use their property because of the danger.
The association also wants the city council to open the area where the range sits to more groups. While WPRA members say they're fighting the location of the range, not the archers themselves, both sides have made their point of view very clear.
There are people who feel that archery is inherently dangerous, which it's not. It has one of the lowest incidents of emergency room visits of any sport.
I've been in the area for 36 years, and I'm also an archer. I realized that it's time that it be turned over to shared use. It's no longer appropriate to have one user group monopolize the entire west side of the Lower Arroyo.
It's absurd. I mean, there's enough room on the Lower Arroyo for everybody.
There's little doubt the debate will continue until the city council steps in.
The debate has been ongoing now for 4 years. I hope that it will be resolved when we come up in February, whichever way it gets resolved, so everybody can move forward.
Until then, these roving archers say they'll be coming back often.
It's fun to shoot. The people here are nice. I meet new friends, and it's fun.
I've met a lot of great people, not just so much my students, but other people that shoot as well.
The issue is scheduled to be voted on at the City Council meeting February 2nd. In Pasadena, Kelly Forsch, CCN.
Service dogs don't just help people who are blind. Canine Companions for Independence trains dogs to help people with disabilities other than blindness. CCN's Andy Rocco was at the Women's Club of South Pasadena, where one special dog showed off his skills.
We've all heard the saying, dogs are a man's best friend. I'm here with Gail Erickson, who is a recipient of the Canine Companions for Independence. Hi Gail, can you tell me more about the program and how you got involved with it?
Yes, when I moved to Southern California in 1989,
I had somebody say, well, have you ever thought about getting a dog? And I hadn't. So I got on a waiting list, and 3 years later, I had my first dog. The dogs are uniquely chosen for you. Training time includes in-class instruction. There are kids that get dogs, that the dogs are very helpful as far as a child with autism to learn how to give the dog commands.
Tell me more about your relationship with Dale and how he's helped you on a day-to-day.
The main thing is picking things up. So my keys are an example. Oops, drop my keys. Dale, get it. Don't. Come on, get it. Good boy.
That was great.
Here.
Wow, how many
Here.
dogs can you see do that? So what about training for Dale? What kind of training does he have to go through? Does it start right at birth, or how long does he have to go to training before he can even be considered?
They are actually with puppy raisers they're with their mom for 6 to 8 weeks. Then they go to live with puppy racing families for about 18 months.
Well, thank you so much. It was very nice meeting you, Gail. Thank you. Canine Companions is a nonprofit organization, and its dogs have been recognized worldwide for their excellence. Andy Rocco in South Pasadena, CCN.
That's it for the news. Back to you, Sunita and Bob.
Thanks, Paulo. Time for the morning buzz once again, and Harris Hall is back. The big scandal in Pasadena. How was it possible for a city employee to embezzle $6.4 million over 10 years from the city? Some are calling for the city manager Michael Beck's resignation. Harris, how much is the city manager to blame for this?
Oh, that's hard to say. I mean, I'm not surprised by this. You're never as careful with other people's money as you are with your own. And whether it's $6 million embezzled in Pasadena or $20 billion in waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal Medicare program, the only conclusion I can come to is we need to shrink government and confiscate less from the hardworking taxpayers who earn that money.
Well, I know they're making a lot of comparisons. This is bigger than Bell. But the difference here is that this wasn't exposed by the newspaper. It was actually, one of our own city councilman, Terry Turnick, kind of exposed this, so they're saying. So is there a comparison here?
Not so much. If you put it in perspective, Bell is a much smaller city. Pasadena's got a huge revenue, and I think the statistic we saw was 0.1%, which is, it's crime and it's fraud and it's bad. It's not going to bankrupt the city. But it definitely points out very clearly there's room for tightening up controls, fiscal procedures, and so forth.
But 10 years, I mean, that's a long period of time. Should this have been found out sooner?
Probably. I mean, it depends on right, I mean, yeah.
I mean,
about $6.4 million sooner, sure.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm wondering is, like they're doing audits on this, every year they have yearly audits, so why didn't something come up then? And was Terry Turnick saving this, has he been sitting on it for the campaign? Who knows?
Yeah, hard to know. And certainly something like this can turn into a real political issue rather than a fiscal control issue or monetary control issue, which is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, while nationally they're gearing up for Team Hillary or Team Jeb, here in Pasadena, will it be Team Jackie or Team Terry? Actually, there are a lot of other candidates throwing their name in for the ring for both races. But here in Pasadena, the change in power is especially difficult for Mayor Bill Bogard, who will leave office on the heels of a devastating scandal. It's kind of like he's being Cosby'd, maybe not to the same extent, but.
Well, it's tough to have something bad like this happen right at the tail end of your tenure, which otherwise I think was fairly successful. So, yeah, it might be blown out of proportion for the time being. I think as time goes on and other scandals take its place, I think he will kind of be exonerated or at least not blamed for this to an extent.
Do you think it's going to test the resolve of the candidates and maybe make some go run and hide?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the kind of people that want to be mayor are going to be able to look past this, I think. But ultimately, I mean, the buck has to stop somewhere, and the mayor is responsible when the city's ripped off for $6 million.
Do you think, going back, should Michael Beck resign over this? I mean, he's had a good record before this.
Probably.
You would say so. Well, what about Terry Turnick? I mean, he's one of the candidates, threw his name in early on. Is this going to give him a leg up?
He can certainly play it into that. I mean, he could make it into whatever you want to, and
'Cause he's like, I'm the only one who saw this. No one else saw this coming. I'm the only one.
yeah, and I would certainly like to know more details about who knew what, when, and where they, did someone figure it out within the city government and take it to him because they favored him, something of that sort.
And there's the added controversy too, because they knew about this scandal. I mean, it's been going on. They found out about it in May. They were doing some internal investigations and things like that. But there were pay raises given out to employees with the scandal happening. That to me, I understand that a lot of the employees had taken a pay cuts or freezes during the recession, and now this is to make up for it. But to have them happen at the same time is kind of hard, and Terry Turnick signed off on that too.
Yeah, it does seem a little problematic. People are getting raises while taxpayers are being stolen from. But I'm not sure that this really. My guess is the race will turn on their plans for Pasadena and their capabilities to execute those plans.
Is this something like this that can happen to any city? I mean, it can happen to any of us, can't it?
Sure. No, it can happen to any city, any large institution where there are numerous people, numerous vendors, and many people who are being paid from different departments with different types of oversight.
Any bureaucracy. And again, like I said at the beginning, you're never as careful with somebody else's money as you are with your own. I don't think I'm going to get, I don't have $6 million. I don't think I'm going to get ripped off $6 million. I watch money closely, and I think you do too. So, but
I'd like that to be a chump change,
Yeah.
But, they did find out on their own. They did do the investigation and go after him. So that wasn't through an outside watchdog necessarily. So.
Yeah, I suppose it could have been worse.
Well, thanks Harris for coming by again. We love having you.
Thanks.
Imagine a walk in the woods between chief negotiators during the Cold War.
The Sierra Madre Playhouse features just such a walk. When we come back, we've got the director and actress of the fantastic play coming to the theater. You won't want to miss it.
A single ember from a wildfire can travel over a mile. That ember can ignite and destroy your home or community. You can't control where that ember will land. Only what happens before it does. Visit fireadapted.org to learn how you can help protect your community from wildfires.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
As we wind down the war on terror, it's hard for some to remember the dangerous threat posed by the Cold War and the nuclear standoff between the USSR and the United States. A new play coming to the Sierra Madre Playhouse imagines the conversation between chief negotiators in the war. We've got director Jeffrey Wade and actress Nancy Youngblood here to tell us about A Walk in the Woods, coming to the Sierra Madre Playhouse. Welcome to you both.
Good to be here.
Thank you. Well, so the tagline for this is a seriously funny play about saving the world. How do you make this funny?
Well, the author Lee Blessing has put in a lot of very funny stuff. Oscar Wilde said, you have to if you want to tell people something serious, you have to make them laugh or they'll kill you. and it's true, if you make people laugh.
Especially theater goers, right?
Especially theater goers. Yeah. They will listen to your message better if they're being entertained at the same time, and it's a very entertaining play.
It is, yeah.
What can we learn from how the sides came together during this discussion?
Nancy?
What can we learn? That you have to keep talking, that there has to be a dialogue, that you just can't give up. You have to keep pushing for agreement, for an agreement. I mean, we can't face a nuclear.
I mean, that's a lesson from that standoff. Are those the same lessons that can be applied today to what's happening now?
Probably. I mean, you look at the way Cuba, has been. That dialogue has been opened up again, and it's because we were talking through back channels. It's when It's when communication is cut off that positions solidify and misunderstandings occur. What's great about this play in particular is that these two people develop a personal relationship beyond just talking about the principles about what they believe in.
And it was originally written for two men, and I'm playing the American negotiator, and we actually have had a woman arms negotiator for the last 10 years. Ellen Tauscher, the Undersecretary of State for Arms Control, is a woman.
Absolutely.
So it's cool. It's very cool to be playing, that kind of character.
Thinking about, did you channel people like that, or Madeline Albright?
We haven't opened yet, but I do kind of think about Ellen, and I'm really impressed by that, by the way she carries herself and looks, and of course Hillary. Well, what about people like Madeline Albright, Condoleezza Rice? Yeah.
How do you think they had to handle themselves in these, talking to some world leaders who are maybe coming from really macho, patriarchal societies?
Well, I think that they are women. They dress beautifully, and they know their stuff. They really know this stuff.
It's interesting that this character has a unique perspective. What she's constantly trying to do is it's sort of, you might say, the woman's role. She's trying to bring things together. She's trying to find compromises, to find ways to come together. And Nancy at one point said, it's hard to believe this part was even written for a man.
I know, I don't see it as a man.
Her whole way of thinking is inclusive. It's let's figure out a way to make this work.
If the women just ruled the world, it would all be perfect.
It
would just be so much easier.
More
It's a lesson learned.
Yeah, sure.
But I mean, how difficult was it to make that change, the gender change from the book?
In terms of the script, Lee Blessing has actually written a version because this has been done before. So there is a version. It required almost nothing. It required changing the pronouns a few times. The Russian negotiator at one point says, "You're a very brave woman," instead of "man." It required nothing else, and it's really great because it's a play of ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't get involved in a sort of romantic relationship in any way.
No.
I was going to say, a lot of this sounds like, you talk about high-level negotiations between superpowers. I'm thinking, that sounds kind of like a marriage. Right?
Exactly,
Right?
that's exactly.
Not that I've ever had an argument in my marriage, but I've heard that people have.
But you just let the women lead, because that's the way it all comes together.
Mutually assured
Thank you
destruction.
so much to you both. This sounds very interesting. I'm really curious about it, so
come see
hope
it.
everyone checks it out. Well, television critics from around the country have descended on Pasadena to talk TV.
CCN's Valerie Milano was part of the festivities. She'll tell us all about the snark and sniffs when they had to share with CCN Entertainment.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork. Loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach
likes
your
you.
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
I've got a job to do today.
I've got a job to do today.
Have a good first day at work, Mom.
Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in your community.
Feels good to start fresh, right?
Sure does.
And like that, you're a job creator.
My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
I wouldn't use this one.
He helps me with my decision making,
Ever.
and he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Bob, what's on your DVR? What are you watching these days?
I am more than halfway through Breaking Bad.
Good.
Tell me, yeah.
I haven't even started.
Oh, okay, good.
I was watching Desperate Housewives, catching up on that. It's good stuff.
Is that
a little
right?
guilty pleasure.
Okay.
I kind of like it. And Eva Longoria is is actually one of my favorites. She started out, I wanted to hate her, but
Right.
she's comedic genius.
I've heard people say she's attractive.
all
Being a
right.
married man, I wouldn't notice, but
Being a married woman, I wouldn't notice, but anyway, well, she was running around the Langham for the Television Critics Association. Valerie Milano is part of the event as the critics take over the Langham Hotel. She's got some ideas for your DVR in CCN Entertainment.
The stars are out in Pasadena at the beautiful Langham Hotel for the Television Critics Association 2015 Winter Press Tour. The TCA represents more than 220 journalists from print and online outlets from across the United States and Canada. For 10 days, the tour allows unparalleled access to the people who make television and provide face-to-face contacts with network executives, producers, and actors. The National Geographic Channel welcomed the high rollers of television. They even had King Caesar in the house. That's Cesar Millan. He was on hand to talk about his new Nat Geo Wild special, Cesar Millan Viva Las Vegas, the second season also of Caesar 911. X-Files' Gillian Anderson promoted the second season of her Netflix series, The Fall. Despite Anderson's character, Detective Superintendent Stella Gibson and Paul Spector, played by 50 Shades of Grey's Jamie Dornan, never actually meeting on screen, the chemistry between the two characters was electric, and the escalating rivalry became the linchpin of the first season. This critically acclaimed series picks up immediately from where season 1 left off, with Gibson in pursuit of Spector. A personal link from Spector's past opens up some clues for Gibson, but provokes Spector in a way that threatens to jeopardize the whole investigation. Gibson is forced to take ever greater risks, but the closer she comes to capturing him, the more Spector passes into her private world, delighting in taunting and provoking her. As the net gradually tightens around him, he becomes psychologically ever more dangerous and destructive. The Fall launches January 16, 2015, so be sure to catch it. Did someone say they saw a desperate housewife running around in Pasadena? Well, a new series of short films by ESPN Films Group and executive produced by Eva Longoria will explore moments when the world of sports transcended the action on the field, stories representing something larger yet singular on a human level. Verses will tell stories of courage of those involved in sports and how they persevered. Well, that's it for now. Catch more entertainment news on CrownCityNews.com and my website, thehollywoodtimes.net. And as always, don't forget the.
Don't forget the. That's it for now. We'd like to thank all of our sponsors for supporting our show.
big thanks also to Harris Hall and Jeffrey Wade and Nancy Youngblood with a Walk in the Woods for joining us in studio. In addition, Glenn Payne, Audrey Perez, and Anton Perez from Title Boxing Club.
Thanks also to our segment stars and crew, and especially to you out there watching us. Enjoy the rest of your day. We sure will.
I will.
I sure will.
Crown City News is sponsored by Foothill Transit, San Gabriel Valley Economic Partnership, Pasadena Federal Credit Union, Senior Providers Network, Ability First, Beacon Media News, EH Financial, Ganal Lumber, Siren Arts Productions. You too can sponsor Crown City News. Call 626-344-8314 or email sponsors@crowncitynews.com. Thank you for your support of Crown City News.